You are listening to the Bridging Impact Podcast, transforming leaders on and off the court with host, Coach Furtado. Without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone, to Coach's Corner edition of the Bridging Impact Podcast. It's your host, Coach Furtado, and we're diving right into it today. So on Coach's Corner, for those that are new, I share the wisdom that I'm learning, what I'm seeing in the youth sports world as a basketball coach and trainer. It's not only about the sport, it's about taking those lessons that our youth learn beyond the game, hence beyond the game basketball. That is our program that is powered by Bridging Impact, which you're listening to right now. There are going to be some opportunities to support athletes coming soon, so stay tapped in on that. But hey, enough of that. Let's dive right into bringing you the information that you came here for. So, empowering our athletes. Where is youth sports today in comparison to where it was when I was as a kid? And we're never going to go back to the 80s and playing in the park, and just having pickup. But maybe we need something a little bit in between. What am I talking about? Well, for those that are really tapped into the youth sports world and in the industry, it's a $20 billion industry right now. So it's, it actually just passed in one of our podcasts that we learned the youth sports travel business of, tournaments and, what those tournaments and people traveling to those tournaments do for a local economy has passed the NFL in terms of economic impact in communities. That is insane. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Our kids are active. Our kids are, playing in organized sports, right? That's a great thing, right, Coach? It is, except one of the conversations I had this week with Kirsten Jones, she is the author of Raising Empowered Athletes. I'm very excited to get a hold of that book and dive into it. Is the issue is not necessarily that they're playing a ton of games, that they're on teams, right? That's the good part. The issue is who is driving it. Who is driving these actions? Okay, who is driving club sports, club basketball, club volleyball, club baseball, right? Who's driving it? Is it the coaches? Is it the parents? Or is it the athletes? A lot of times it's the adults, right? Who is the one making those purchases in the $20 billion industry? It's not the kids. It's the parents, and it's the coaches and administrations that are taking advantage of that. So my point today, and what I want to bring light of, is the issue of where we are at. Right now, our athletes are playing more games than ever, right? They are playing in highly competitive, highly pressurized games at a younger age. We're treating, even, I've heard, right, of conversations of athletes that I've worked with, that club programs as young as 7 years old are running and training them like they are professional athletes. They are 7 years old. They just learned how to write their ABCs. And we're trying to teach them and have them have club tournaments, 6 to 10 tournaments for a season, right? However long your season is for your sport. And instead of, them just playing and having fun, right? They're organized, they're learning the X's and O's at the age of 7, when in reality they should be learning play. So I'm not against club, I'm against how we design the system and how we are guiding our athletes along. Now, this episode is about empowering our athletes. Our athletes, once they finish sports, right? Who makes the decisions in their own lives when they're in college and they are faced between decisions of maybe doing something that they shouldn't be doing or they should be, right? When they don't have that decision-making skill, what decision do you think they're going to make? They're going to make the decision based on what their peers are saying or what their friends, because they've been doing that their whole entire life. Because we, as coaches do this too, and I am probably guilty of this as well. And parents have been making decisions for them their entire life. We never give them the autonomy. Do you want to join this club team? Do you want to do 6 to 10 tournaments? There's nothing wrong with playing competitive sports. I love competitive sports. But we have gotten away from letting our athletes being the ones who dictate and create those decisions? Well, coach, they are 10 years old. Of course, they don't know what's best for them. I know what's best for them. Do you? Do you know what's best for them? Do you know what's best for their long-term development? You may know what's best for them this season, right? So I think recognizing that we are in an era of keeping up with the Joneses, and right now with the Joneses say you have to play tournaments every single weekend. Well, I'm watching overuse injuries just explode. I'm watching Tommy Johns explode. Kids think it's good to get Tommy John in high school because he'll throw harder. No, that is not true. You're watching some of the greatest MLB athletes having all these overuse injuries, right? For multitude of reasons, and it's not just because of youth sports, right? Because we want these high performances at such a young age, and we are not empowering our athletes to be their own decision makers, right? We're in a car at the end of the game, and we're just lecturing them. You did this wrong. You did that. You need to do this. You need to do that. We're not even giving them any autonomy or freedom to be their own coaches, to make their own decisions. And coaches do it all the time. All we do is lecture. You need to do this. You need to do that. You're late. Come on, right? Instead of asking them the question, why are you late? What did you see on that play when you made a turnover, right? We need to give them decision-making and empowerment skills so they can make their own decisions. If they can't make their own decisions, how are they going to be productive citizens in life beyond sports? How? It's not possible if we're always giving them the answer. We cannot spoon-feed them everything. We can't. We have to design our practices for coaches in ways that ask them questions. Hey, what did we do well in this? What do we want to improve on, right? And don't just ask. There are going to be a couple of people that always will raise their hand. They're always going to raise their hand. Have the ones write things down or tell a partner if they're not comfortable, speaking in front of the entire group. Have them think, right? They have to start thinking for themselves. Everything shouldn't just be tailored and organized for them and they just show up, right? Because in my opinion, great leaders plan and organize for themselves, right? I have to organize these podcasts. I have to organize my week to make sure I'm getting on the phone and talking to parents. Otherwise, no one's going to do that for me. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur, but that's going to be a successful skill that they can take wherever they work. And so getting to my point is we need to ask more questions, not necessarily give more answers, because we need to help them define their own answers, discover who they are as people, right? At the end of the day, they're going to keep playing for us, the coaches, and especially us, I'm not a parent, but it's true. In the conversation I had with Kirsten, she has kids, right? They're going to play for us, right? Because they want, number one, as humans, we want to belong in a society, and we want to belong to our parents. So we're going to do what makes them happy. We're going to play the club. But you know what's going to happen a lot of times is they're going to burn out, right? They're going to burn out if we don't let them be kids and let them have fun. So it's just so much bigger than, hey, one season. And again, I'm not against club whatever. I'm against parents dictating everything that kids do or coaches designing things thinking they know what's best, right? And I understand there are going to be a million different situations where there's sometimes a coach or a parent needs to push a player to potentially get a scholarship because that may be their only way out, right? That's not necessarily what I'm talking about in this episode, because 90% of the people that are playing, club this, club that, they have, opportunities to be kids outside of things. And 90% of people who are playing club will not play college sports, right? Only 7% of high school athletes play collegiate sports. It's an even lower percent of collegiate athletes play professionally. And so we must prepare our athletes to be successful in life. And one of the most important ways to do that is to empower our athletes. Empower them, ask them questions, be curious, help them. We're guidance and mentors. It's not like we're never going to give them advice. No, of course not, right? But we have to ask them questions so that they can come to their own conclusions, right? It can be as small as after a post game and having them, dictate and decide, like what went wrong in that game, right? Or it can be as big as, hey, what club programs do you want to play for? What coaches do you want to work with? Do you want to train 5 times a week? I'm all for it. Like, I love working with the athletes who want to work 5 to 6 times a week, right? But I also want that to come from them and not, oh, I want to make Coach Furtado happy. No, I want you to be the human being you are meant to be. I don't care if you play basketball or not. I really don't. I want you to be happy. I want to support you in whichever goals and dreams you have in your life. It's not about me. I'm their coach. I'm their mentor. I had my playing career. It's over. It's over. I chose. I could have maybe played a little bit. I could still probably be playing some 3-on-3 tournaments and stuff. But I choose, right, to be a guidance and a mentor. Right? That's my role now. It's not my role to impose my dreams. Right? I can talk about their potential. I can be like, you have a ton of potential. You could play college basketball. Right? But that doesn't mean that I'm going to force you to. It has to come from you. But if you say you want that, that's when I hold them accountable. That's when that standard ticks up a little bit, but you still want to ask questions, right? So a good thing in a way that I'm going to wrap this up is, instead of saying, hey, that's not what a college basketball player does, right? Hey, Johnny, you said you want to play college basketball. Would a college basketball player show up 10 minutes late? Would a college basketball player dog it on that? And when it comes from them, they recognize what you're talking about. It's the same point that you have, but now it's their ownership. And when we give people ownership, that's when they're empowered. That's when they become decision makers, when they become leaders, and that's how they drive their own lives. So thank you for listening to this episode. Make sure you give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. We believe that we have great value that we can bring to coaches and parents. So please share it with a friend as well. It's how we help you grow and make a bigger impact. It's what it's about. It's about making a bigger impact on our athletes. Sports is an amazing tool to teach life lessons. So make sure you tune in to our great interview episodes every Wednesday and Coach's Corners on Fridays. Coach Furtado out.